What's up, YouTube? It's Gmo here, bringing you a new video. This video is going to wrap up some of the big updates that came into Old School RuneScape in 2024. To start the year, we received a new quest in Children of the Sun. This quest gives us access to the new expansive region of Varlamore. The region was not quite finished whenever they finished this quest, so it gives players a head start and allows them to be ready to explore the region on release day. Scurious was also released as a training method for low to medium level players. You could get the Rapbane weapons from it, and they offered an increase in XP per hour because they did more damage to rats. And I believe that this is also the best combat training XP method in the game, even better than Darrock's at Nightmare Zone. In February, the biggest update we received was the Defender of Varrock quest. This quest gave us access to armored zombies, which drop the armored axe, and it is a fit between the Abyssal Whip and Dragon's Scimitar in terms of DPS and XP per hour. March was the big release of Varlamore. Varlamore gave us Hunter Rumors as well as the Colosseum. Hunter Rumors are similar to Slayer tasks, but with Hunter, you receive a varied task of Hunter NPCs to hunt, and you can receive an XP drop whenever you're finished, as well as a loot sack, dependent on which tier of Hunter Rumor you complete, just to kind of switch up your Hunter training. The Colosseum rewards you with miscellaneous supplies, but it can also drop Dazana's Quiver, which is the new best in slot range cape. April was a relatively slow month with updates in terms of content. They just released a massive region in Varlamore, so very understandable there. They did, however, have some updates to drop rates, and they added in Varlamore combat achievements. May was a huge month. It had some massive quality of life changes with Project Rebalance. I won't go over all of them, but I will go over some of the main points that were offered with the May updates. Many of the agility courses had increased XP rates as well as Marks of Grace rates being buffed. Other agility courses such as Apatol received Marks of Grace to the course. Some of the shortcuts had their level requirement lowered, and they also had the achievement diary requirements removed entirely. Mining at Motherlode Mine had a few timer buffs as well as XP buffs, with the coal counting towards your XP. Amethyst now gives you 2 to 3 ore before depleting, making it a little bit more AFK. The mining gloves had their cost lowered significantly, and it definitely cuts down on the time to receive your mining gloves. Mage Training Arena was another big one. It received quite a few buffs to make it a little bit smoother of a process. The point cap to all the rooms was doubled. In the telekinetic room, they sped up the maze guardian and also replenished your run after 5 completions of the telekinetic room. The points in the alchemist playground received a buff. Cupboards stay open, and they stay open after the first time you open them per rotation. Rotations in the alchemist room now last 1 minute, and you can take 5 items from the room. The enchanting chamber added 1 in 32 chance to find a dragonstone to receive extra points as well, and added at least 1 color in each of the corners of the rooms for less running around the room to enchant the correct color. The graveyard, being the most infuriating of the rooms, received several tweaks as well. You now only receive damage from falling bones, which can be avoided. Bones to Peaches and Bones to Banana can now be casted while running. The Bones to Peaches tabs also work while in the room, so you can take tabs instead of runes. Peaches also count for double the fruit count whenever you deposit them, so it essentially doubles your points once you get Bones to Peaches. At the end of the month, they went through with the combat rebalance. This added elemental weaknesses to many monsters around the game, making different spells much more useful in niche scenarios. They also added different types of ranged weaknesses to various monsters in the game, along with ammo types. Heavy being bolts and javelins, standard being arrows, light being thrown weapons such as knives, axes, darts, and many of the gear for magic also had magic damage added, or in the case of Ancestral, they tweaked some of the damage boosts. After all of the quality of life updates, June was relatively slow. It was mostly miscellaneous updates. They did release the mobile UI beta, which added multiple quality of life features to mobile. Coliseum NPCs also had a slight rework to their click boxes. July added a massive new quest with While Guthic Sleeps. It is an iconic quest from the pre-EOC days of RuneScape. This also brought back Tormented Demons, which are weak to the new Demon Bane weapons. These weapons are created from a drop from the Tormented Demons, being the Tormented Synapse. They also added the Burning Claw, where you can combine two of them to create the Burning Claws. These are a weaker version of Dragon Claws, but they have increased accuracy and damage against demons. August saw the release of a very highly requested Slayer update with Slayer partners. They also allowed the use of various skilling items in the offhand slot, such as the Bruma Torch and the Saw. At the end of the month, Jagex released Araxor. It is a Slayer boss derived from RuneScape 3. This boss requires 92 Slayer and can only be killed while on a Slayer task. This added the Noxious Halberd, which is a stronger variant of the Crystal Halberd, and it also has the chance to venom enemies. It is incredibly useful in the boss fight as well, always dealing max damage to the Araxites that spawn during the boss fight. Araxor can also drop the Araxite Fang, which can be used with the Amulet of Torture to create the new Best in Slot melee amulet. This boss also drops the Araxite Venom Sac at a very common drop rate, being 1 in 16, which can be used to create extended anti-venoms. In September, Jagex had a huge announcement with Project Zenaris. This update is still in development, but it will allow players to create and develop their own private servers. These servers will not have high scores linked to the main game. We also received Araxor combat achievements. At the end of the month, Jagex released Varlamore Part 2. This is where we got the Mastering Mixology minigame, as well as the Hyakotl? How the fuck do you say that? Anyways, this added the ability to create prayer regeneration potions. They also added the Colossal Worm Agility course, which added a new graceful recolor. In October, Jagex launched the new Wintertod balancing update. This added the warmth meter, which regenerates similar to your hit points. I believe you can use any food you want to regenerate your warmth meter. You also regenerate more warmth per piece of Pyromancer you have equipped. I believe it is 8% as the baseline and 1% per Pyromancer piece you have equipped. They also added the ability to drink the Rejuvenation Potion to replenish 30% of your warmth per dose instead of using your own food. At the beginning of November, Jagex dropped the new quest, the Curse of Arav. This added higher level armored zombies from the Defender of Varrock quest. They have a higher drop rate for the zombie axe, and they can also drop the zombie helmet. Guardians of the Rift had some updates to the gameplay as well. The game now scales based on how many players are inside of the Rift. You can also do a big search at the rewards chest to do 5 searches at once instead of doing just one at a time. If you have extra pearls, you can pay 25 pearls to have 1 extra search at the rewards guardian. And they also allow the use of the Colossal Pouch at any level, but it does scale on how many it can hold based on your current rune crafting level. At the end of the month, Jagex released Leagues 5. This temporary game mode was so massive that players broke the record for the highest concurrent player count. December was also a relatively slow month as well. There were a few tweaks to Leagues as well as the annual Christmas event. After massive updates such as leagues, there isn't much reason to push out any new updates until the dust settles. Players will likely be preoccupied with leagues or any of these other updates that we've had throughout the year, and they're likely at home enjoying their own Christmas events with their families. All in all, though, I would say we've had a very good year for old school RuneScape in terms of updates to the main game as well as multiple temporary game modes. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe. Gmo out.